right, guys. Good morning. It is Tuesday. Let's see what we got to talk about today. We got retail sales data a little bit later this week. There's Bitcoin. Here's SoFi. People are talking about SoFi. We also had some bank earnings drop this morning. That might be relevant for markets. Again, we'll see. Today we do have some big bank earnings dropping. Let me put this up on screen. We have like Bank of America. I believe we have Goldman Sachs as well. We'll try to put those numbers on the bottom of the screen here to see if that helps. But yeah. What's up, Ray, Martin, Bao, Katie, Joseph, Omar? Good morning, chat. I'm going to do a poll here as well, like I always do. Let me get some music going here. What's up, Vanessa? All right. So how you guys doing this morning? Let me see the bank earnings that we had. I know we have some bank earnings dropping. We got Goldman Sachs posting their numbers here. Charles Schwab posting as well. Goldman Sachs ended up posting about 5 minutes ago these numbers right here. They posted 840 EPS versus 693 expected. Revenue of 12.7 billion, expected 11.77 billion, so better than expected. FICC sales and trading came in at 2.96 billion. If we put up GS here, Goldman Sachs, they are going up this morning in pre-market. There's Goldman Sachs here. We also had a few other ones. Charles Schwab posted 77-cent profit EPS versus 75 expected. Revenue of 4.85 billion versus 4.78 billion expected. We're going to start to put the numbers up in the chat section here. So there's some of them for Schwab. State Street also posted 226 EPS versus 212 expected. Revenue at 3.26 billion versus 3.19 billion expected. The CFO is going to step down from the role soon. And so State Street, STT symbol, announced that today. Walgreens posted 39-cent profit per share versus 36-cent expected. Man, Walgreens has been on a downward fall here. There's a time when I thought this was cheap. I remember at like 30 or 40 bucks, and I'm glad I sold a long time ago. It is now at $9 a share. They posted, they're up a little bit this morning, but they're just down so much. They're at $10 a share now. Walgreens posted 39-cent profit versus 36 cents expected. Revenue of 37.5 versus 35.7 billion, so better than expected revenue as well. Bank of America showed up. They posted 81-cent profit per share versus 87 cents expected. Revenue, net interest expenses of 25.35 billion versus 25.27 billion. Here's Bank of America numbers. So again, Goldman Sachs reacting really well. Walgreens is up some as well. Bank of America, which is BAC, is gapping up a little bit. Had this big candle wick. I'm not sure why it didn't hold, but it's got this big candle wick up there that we're paying attention to. And yeah. Boeing files a mixed shelf offering announcement. But that's the bank earnings so far today. Again, we got Walgreens. Most of them beat. If you look at most of these results, most of them beat. So yeah, Bank of America, Goldman Sachs, Citigroup are going to be releasing today. I think Citigroup's releasing theirs in about 25 minutes. So Nvidia nears Apple's market value. So Nvidia shares have surged, driven by optimism about AI demand, positioning the company to potentially surpass Apple as the most valuable symbol soon. So again, Nvidia pushing up to potentially surpass Apple as the most valuable stock. Apple stock is also close to record highs, though. Apple stock has been gaining following positive momentum from iPhone sales projections. If you look at Apple here, if you look at Apple at 233s, lifetime highs are at 237s for Apple. And so Apple's getting pretty close up there too. They're at 233s now. 237s are up here. So that's the Apple lifetime high. So we're watching that. CVS shares are also up as the company explores separating its retail and insurance divisions following pressures from activist investors. The Bank of America CEO is also talking about some stuff in his earnings call. It says that this quarter marks an inflection point in net interest income. And so yeah, Pawn also sending me some news here. Let's see what we got. So yeah, Nvidia stock is falling amid reports of U.S. extending cap on AI chip exports beyond China. So Nvidia stock fell down a little bit. You can see it gapping down some on this news. The chip maker may face more limitations on exports of its advanced AI chips. The U.S. government officials have discussed capping sales of advanced AI chips from the U.S. to certain countries, according to Bloomberg, citing people familiar with the matter. Basically, they don't want competitors to the U.S. getting a hold of a lot of these chips, is what they're basically saying. It could affect Nvidia and AMD specifically the most, is what they're talking about. So we're looking at that. Microsoft AI vice president is going to join OpenAI. So one of Microsoft's vice presidents for AI intelligence, Sebastian Bubik, is leaving to join OpenAI. Bubik, who most recently served as their vice president for Microsoft for generative AI research, has left to further his work in developing AI with OpenAI, a Microsoft spokesperson said. EV chip maker Wolfspeed is set to receive 750 million US chips grant. So that's going on. Again, Walgreens is going to shutter about 1,200 stores as CEO Wentworth seeks turnaround. So Walgreens said today that it would shut about 1,200 stores over the next 3 years, specifically as the new CEO Tim Wentworth is planning to basically help the company bounce back. Struggling pharmacy chain operator hit by sluggish consumer spending and low drug reimbursement rates, and so they've been falling down. Walgreens looking super weak. I wonder if it's a buy though down here. But to be fair, I thought Walgreens was a buy at 30, and it definitely didn't bounce. So Boeing again filed for registration statement for securities sale up to $25 billion. So a big offering for Boeing. Microsoft owns, I believe, 49% of OpenAI Milkshake. About 49% is what Microsoft owns of OpenAI, from my understanding. From my understanding, that's what they own. About 49%, give or take. Yeah, so they own a chunk of it. They own a majority of it, I would say. Or not a majority. They own half of it. There's Goldman Sachs on the right. Again, Goldman Sachs acting really, really well. Nvidia up to 137s. So we're kind of watching that too. Got this big breakdown here. So we bought one contract of the regular NASDAQ here. We've been trading a little bit larger size. I want to see if we get a continued bounce. We could probably hold the rest break even. But we've been trading a little bit larger size, trying to, we had a good green day yesterday. I noticed the range is a little bit smaller in pre-market, so we can trade a little bit smaller, a little bit larger size here, and usually get away with it safely. I do want to see, so there we go, we're flat here on this position. Again, this is on Topstep X, no commissions. There we go, green. And there we're up a little bit. Very flat here, it's not really moving much, look at this. We're long after a big pullback. I just want to see if we bounce up just some, There we go. See if we can hold up there. There we go. All right, so we just cut that, made about $45, a little bit under $50 here. Yeah, we do have Canadian CPI dropping this morning. It's expected to release at 8:30 though, so we have, almost an hour before it comes out. Bank of America CEO says this quarter marks an inflection point in net interest income. The CFO feels good about investment banking pipeline going ahead, and loan growth went up on the back of credit cards and small businesses. Another news for Apple released this morning. Apple iPhone reportedly achieves record high sales volume for Q3 while the global smartphone market continues to recover, according to Apple. So, we got that news dropping. We're putting the rest of the news up in the chat. So not bad here. Got another little quick gain. We're up about $50 to start the day. You'd love to see it. We'll see if we can continue. Do you ever do research on stocks? I mean, of course, I've been talking about stock news all morning this morning. Yeah, I'm looking at this stuff. Full supermoon. Yeah. Yeah, so again, guys, we're watching some stuff. All right, so we did get a big rebound here, man. I could have bought that. Look at Apple break highs again. So Apple's treading closer to their lifetime highs. They're getting closer to lifetime highs here. Yeah. Why is Neo is going to zero after I sold? Yeah, so we got NASDAQ ripping up some. Tesla at 220s here. So Tesla at 220s. We'll see if Tesla continues to go higher. Amazon at 187.70s. So Amazon's still trying. Tesla's still trying to head back up. Tesla, had a little dip yesterday and completely rebounded. If you look at yesterday's price action for Tesla, it's super strange. So again, Nvidia down a little bit today, but look at Tesla's price action yesterday. It's very strange. Look at this big pullback all the way down to the 214 level and then all the way back up within like 20-30 minutes. Very strange. Any news today? We don't have any economic reports aside from Canadian CPI data drops today. Last week we got CPI data, so, and next week we have Tesla earnings. But the biggest day this week is Thursday. Friday, I don't think we have anything Friday. The biggest day is Thursday. We got building permits, housing starts Friday. But Tesla on the daily looks like it's formed a temporary bottom. Yeah, I mean, Tesla's so predictable. We talked about this yesterday, and this is something that we talked about a lot leading into this report. Tesla's very obviously a buy the rumor, sell the news thing. You know, like people would get so emotional prior to the robotaxi event, but we were like a broken record about this. It's buy the rumor, sell the news. Every time Tesla has a major conference, I like Tesla company as a stock. I like Tesla stock. The problem is that it's super predictable. Every single time Tesla has a big event like this, it goes up in anticipation of the event, and then after the event happens, it goes down, right? Every single time. I'm not saying it should go down. I'm not saying it's justifiably down. I'm just saying every time it has a thing like this, it goes up leading up to it in optimism, and then down after the event. And they did the exact same thing here. It went up leading into the robotaxi event. After the robotaxi event, it dropped. Nvidia's down on some news. So Nvidia had some news today. Apple iPhone sales doing well. So basically, Nvidia's news. Oh yeah. So Nvidia's news is this. Nvidia is down on fears that they're going to restrict selling chips overseas to competitor countries. Right. Like, so there's basically some news that said they might expand that ban on chips exports to specific countries, and that might be bad for AMD and Nvidia. And so if you look at Nvidia, it's down a little bit this morning based off of that news. AMD is also down with it. Meanwhile, Apple's pushing up. Goldman Sachs is pushing up. Bank of America is up today. Tesla just broke highs a little bit this morning. So Apple is so expensive, it's crazy. It's really not. Like, Apple is, like, for whatever reason, Apple is one of those stocks that people, for whatever reason, try to always, like, discount. Like, people will be the biggest bears on Apple. It's one of the most successful companies in the world, right? But for whatever reason, people get wrapped up in, like, if they have a Samsung, they for some reason act like it's some type of, you know, Bloods versus Crips scenario in which they have to hate Apple if they have a Samsung. I have a Samsung. You know, like I have a Z Fold Samsung, you know, but I think Apple is one of the best companies in the world, really. If you look at Apple's EPS, let's see what it is. Let's see what their PE ratio is. Yeah, Apple's PE ratio is like 35. You know, that's not terrible. That's not like a really bad, like their price to earnings ratio is good. It's not bad. I'm not going to say it's great, but it's not, there's much worse blue chip stock PE ratios out in the world right now besides Apple. And so Apple's pumping up on news, specifically on optimism regarding, Apple is up specifically on optimism regarding its record high sales volume for quarter 3. Apple, global smartphone market continues to bounce back. iPhone up after record high sales volume for quarter 3. Yeah, Apple's PE ratio is like 35. That's crazy. What? Microsoft is 32. Yeah, but if you think Apple is crazy relative to other blue chip stocks, you haven't really checked the PE ratio of most of the other blue chip stocks out there. Like, let's take a look, right? Let's see if I can find Amazon's. I know Amazon. Look. So just to put this into perspective, Amazon's PE ratio is 45, right? 45 as of today. Tesla PE ratio. Tesla's PE ratio is about, what is it? 63. You know? Microsoft's PE ratio is 35, so it's exactly the same PE ratio as Apple. You know what I mean? Nvidia's PE ratio is about 65, right? And so that's my point. It's like Apple, for whatever reason, just has, people get emotional, I guess is what it is. Like, Apple gets these traders that just want to bet against it. This happened, you know, a couple months ago. People were telling me here, right? And I was very consistent with what I'm saying now. A couple months ago, people were telling me here that Apple was done for, and that Apple was going to get booted out of the Magnificent Seven, and that it was just super weak, and it was going to lose its dominance over the smartphone market or whatever it is. And I told people at the same time, right? That's exactly what I'm saying now. Don't get tricked into betting against the healthiest companies in the world. It's silly, right? Like, betting against companies like this is dumb. And it just doesn't make any sense. And I told people at the same time, like, it's Apple. Like, you have to think about the future of Apple. right? Like, you cannot like iPhones, but the truth is, I could buy my 15-year-old daughter a brand new Samsung, the coolest Samsung in the world, and she would rather a 5-year-old iPhone over that. You know, young people are the future for this type of stuff, and they love Apple iPhones, at least in the United States. Now, elsewhere across the world, it's different. But in the United States, Apple is very dominant here. Is very dominant. And once somebody starts to use a specific brand in terms of phone, they almost never switch. And so Apple's going to continue to do well. It's not even a super, I don't think it's very variance heavy personally, but hey. Well, I mean, it's not really super expensive versus Microsoft or versus Tesla or versus Amazon or versus Nvidia. You know, Microsoft, Amazon, Tesla, Nvidia. You know, like in most blue chip stocks that you can think of have. The only blue chip stock that in tech, in the Magnificent Seven, that I think that has a better PE ratio than Apple is Meta. And this is, I haven't looked at Meta's Meta's PE ratio is currently about 30, right? So that's not bad either. That's pretty good. And so the only one that I can think of in the Mag 7 that has a worse PE ratio, let me see what Google's is Meta. Let me see. Okay, and Google's PE ratio is about 23. So Google has a better PE ratio than all of them. And PE, just to put this into perspective for people at home, PE ratio stands for price to earnings. Like, it's how much the company makes versus what their price is. Yeah, that's what it is, Milo. Apple's like Gucci brand, but on phones. I disagree. I think Gucci actually, like if you look at what the wealthy actually buy, right? Most of the time they don't buy Gucci. Gucci is kind of like a lower, a less desired luxury brand, to believe it or not, right? Like the top, I would say, if we're talking like what the wealthy buy, most of them buy Louis Vuitton, right? Like, you buy a really nice purse from Louis Vuitton, like a big purse, it's going to cost about $8,000. You know, 6 to 8K minimum for a big purse from Louis Vuitton right now, right? You could buy the same size purse from Gucci. It's going to probably be like 3 to 4,000. So it's going to be noticeably less expensive. You buy one from most of the luxury brands you can think of. Coach, same thing, same concept, just lesser price. And so if you, most of the wealthy, from my experience, buy Louis Vuitton over Gucci. But hey, it's subjective. What is Netflix's PE? Let me see. Netflix has a PE ratio of 70 right now, 70. And so I guess that's my point. Like, when you start ranking these, right? Like, when you start ranking PE ratios, right? Number one is Meta at about 30. Or no, 30. Or no, number one is Google. About 24 PE ratio. Number two is Meta at 30. Number three is Apple at 35. Number four is Microsoft, which is about the same at 35. Number five is, what was number? I think number five would be, was it Tesla? I'm trying to think of. All right, Tesla's is about 64. Nvidia's is 65. Okay, yeah. So let's keep going. So Tesla, 64. We have Nvidia at 65, and then we have Netflix at 70. Right? Is that the Mag 7? That's probably the Mag 7, right? I might be missing one. I think Google Class A is going to be up there too. But yeah. So my point is, Apple's in the top half, or at least close to it. There's much worse valued PE ratios specifically all this, you know. So like, and again, you got to think about, I think Apple is one of the safest companies for the future. I think it's very, very, very improbable for Apple to somehow lose its dominance over the US phone market. My point is, I think it's very, very improbable that Samsung is going to somehow get a hold of the US smartphone market and succeed. I think Apple's most likely going to be pretty safe up there. Oh yeah, Amazon is what I'm missing. And Amazon has a PE ratio of... I think Amazon is actually in the Mag 7 over there. So Amazon has a PE ratio of 44. So 44. We'll put that up there too. So that should be up here. But either way, Amazon would be even more of an argument. So we put 8, even though... Right, so here's Amazon right there. So you got these last 5 that are still worse. My man should have taken a typing class. Anyone just to lag a bit? Are y'all lagging? You shouldn't be. I buy none of them. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm a watch guy, so I can't criticize people with like making super expensive purposes. Like if I'm gonna spend 15 grand on a watch, you know, I can't really talk smack about somebody buying a Louis Vuitton purse, you know, and you buy them for the same reasons. Like women buy purses for the same reasons men buy watches. There's always outliers. But the good thing about watches is that you can resell the watches and probably make money. I can buy a Rolex for 10 to 15K, wear it for 5 years, and then sell it most likely for more than I paid for it, right? So I basically make money and get to wear a Rolex for 5 years. You know, that's the difference. With a Louis Vuitton bag, it's going to depreciate so much in that period of time that the same argument is not there for like purses and stuff like that. It's just not there. Now, you can take care of them the best you can, and some people are going to really take care of them and all that good stuff, and that's great. But it's just not the same thing. You're not going to be able to make money usually on a Louis Vuitton purse almost ever versus wearing like a Rolex or something like that, or like a Patek where you're probably going to make money, you know. Thoughts on Belova watches? I've got a couple. They're kind of like a entry level watch. I would say they're a little bit. They're good watches. They're not. Yeah, they're good watches. Like I've got a couple. You know. I scalped Tesla yesterday. All right, guys. So we got some movement. Here's Tesla 219, Apple at 234s, Bank of America at 43s. Neo. Some are wondering if this. Huh. Neo. Yeah, Neo's down. With someone that has 1,500 shares of Apple, buying it at $2 and it'd be 80% of my account. What do you mean buying it at $2, Ryan? Explain that for me. Yeah, so what do you talk about? Mopar, he said some were wondering if this guy was paid or questioning the truth. Yeah, I'm not sure what went on there. Yeah, you bought Apple at $2? That's a great price, man. All right, guys, Bank of America, Apple at 234s. Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking at the QQQ. Look at Bank of America still pushing up. Apple just broke highs again. Got up 24.11s. Speaking of Apple. So you bought Apple at $2, Ryan. Yeah, I mean, listen, dude. This is why the internet is weird. Okay, I'm not trying to talk smack to you. But the problem is that people just make up stuff on the internet. And I'm not sure why they make up stuff on the internet. Right? So, like, if you look at Apple stock, right, and you want to try to tell people that, no offense to you, but if you want to try to tell people that you got the cheapest price possible to look good on the internet, right, most people that don't quite understand stocks are going to look back at Apple here and say, oh, well, it was at 6 cents a share, so I bought it at $2. The problem here is that Apple was never at $2 a share, brother. It was just never there. It was never at $2 a share. The reason this trend looks like this, right? The reason this trend looks like this is because Apple has been split so much since it IPO'd. You know, so the reason I was asking you that is because, let me make sure. I might be wrong, but I mean, I guess, look. Yeah. Yeah, so the lowest Apple stock price ever really hit was 1997 after the, if you ever learn about Apple, and I might be wrong here. Again, I'm trying to look up data. Apple hit $4 a share. Yeah. Yeah, but 2009 was last $2. Yeah, no, it's all good. I guess, like, I get so many people that make stuff up on the internet. I like, okay, guys, if we look at Apple and you look at this at 2009, right? So if you look at this, you might not understand that Apple was never at this price, right? Like, Apple was never at $3. The reason why is because Apple's price history has been changed. Okay, Apple did a 4-for-1 split in 2020, a 7-for-1 split in 2014. So if we account for splits, Apple price in 2019, let's see. Apple shares traded in the 150 range, $150 a share in 2009. Since then, multiple stock splits have happened and makes it appear much lower than it actually was. So, again, it was never at $2 a share. It was never at $4 a share in 2009. Like, it was actually at $150 in 2009, and they've split it so much. Again, they did a 4-for-1 split in 2020. They did a 7-for-1 split in 2014. And so, thus is my point. Yeah. So just to put that into perspective, and so again, I'm not trying to be skeptical. Apple IPO'd at roughly $22 a share, and again, the reason I say this is because people throw up all this, you know, people throw up all this funny stuff, and I always try to just be honest with people about it. No, it's not a knockout. It's all good, Ryan. Like, it's all good, bro. You know, I think people like. It's all good. Like, I get it, you know. I'm always skeptical because, again, I get weirdness from people. I get people that show up. I had a guy that wanted to be my moderator, and I've told this story 1,000 times. But this guy wanted to be my moderator. He shows up. He's like, hey, I'm brand new day trading. He's like, you helped me learn so much. I just started day trading. Thanks so much. And I'm like, okay, great. And he started to kind of act as kind of like an informal moderator. Like I never really asked him to, but he was posting so much. Like I think at one point I was like, hey, I'll pay you some if you want to help like add some news to the Discord or whatever. And then pretty soon, within a month, this dude's like, yeah, I've been day trading for 20 years. I make 30 grand a month. You know what I mean? Like he just turned super toxic, right? And so, you know, there's been a lot of incidents like that over the years that have kind of made me respectfully decline offers for moderators and respectfully decline offers for people wanting to like work for the channel, just because it causes too much problems. It really does. It's just too much. It's just too much, you know. Yeah, it's all good, brother. It's all good. Yeah, his average price might be $2 after the split. For, you know, that's fine. But again, what I'm saying is just understand my skepticism, because the internet's weird. Everybody wants to say the greatest thing. They want, you know, and it's all good. If he's telling the truth, Brian, that's a great position, brother. I hope you make boatloads of money, as you should, if you were able to hold Apple that long. And so, great job, man. Hey John, what indicators do you recommend, or do you have any advice in finding one? I don't give out trading advice. My favorite indicators are the volume weighted average price, 200 EMA, and then just extension. And if I can use the RSI for extension, I will. People just want to be loved. 100%, man. That's what it is, you know. Look at my indicator, Brad. I built this indicator. Check this out. So I'm still working on it, guys. Let me see if I can find it. But check this out. Like, look at this thing. So I built this indicator. Look at how useful this is, man. It's genuinely useful. Look at that thing. I gotta start working on these more. But look at that. Literally predicted the top. Literally predicted the bottom. Literally predicted the top. Literally predicted the bottom. And I've noticed for Palantir, it actually is more accurate, I would say. Like, look at this. I don't know. Maybe not. This one was wrong. This one was wrong. This one was right. That one. These are all right. That's nice. Sometimes it gets it wrong for sure. I think it has to be the right day, I guess. Look, green, red, green, red. Some days when it's on, it's really on. And I think the way you have to use this is you have to look at how well it's working any particular day. And like, if it's working good one day, that's when you use it. Yeah, I was just asking if you think I should diversify or keep riding it. I mean, it depends, Ryan. I'm going to preface everything with I have no freaking idea. I'm going to preface this with I have genuinely no freaking idea what you should do. Okay, I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. Always make your own assessment, trade responsibly, all that good stuff. But it depends, right? It depends on when you're retiring. If you're retiring soon, you know, it depends on, to be honest, what your goal is. If your goal is to build wealth for your family, you should always keep holding, in my opinion. Personally, I might be wrong. Apple might crash tomorrow. I have no idea. But if your plan is to build generational wealth, you should always hold blue chip investments, because over time they're going to make more and more and more and more and more. If you're going to imminently retire and you need that money, that's a different story completely, and that's when you should maybe consider liquidating your portfolio. But again, I'm not telling you to do either of those things. I have no idea what you should do. Oh, you're 20. Well, and it depends on what your goal is, brother. I use 1 minute, 5 minute for day trading. If it's longer term, I use longer term indicators. Yeah. Yeah, trading's weird. Hey, what's up, Daphne? Yeah, just be smart how you spend it. Yeah, do what you gotta do, you know. Alright, guys, here's the SPY. SPY choppy today. It's very flat, boring, not really doing much. All right, guys, and again, we're day trading futures today. So if you haven't already, check out. See, honestly, dude, I'm looking at this 1 minute monster that I built. It's genuinely impressive. Yeah, so again, I have it. If you haven't already, check out Topstep. Topstep is a funded program in futures. They give you a demo. They test your skill with it. If you pass the test, they fund you. If you fail, you only lose what you pay for it. In this case, the base one's $49. It gets you exposure to day trading, so you're not risking that much. If you lose, it's not the end of the world. You can then like figure out what you want to do, whether you want to give up or whether you want to keep trying. Again, we are day trading futures now. Again, we made a little bit of money today. We made about $45. The good thing about Topstep X, in the futures market, you can day trade the S&P, the NASDAQ, currencies, gold, some currencies, gold, a bunch of cool stuff is what you can do in futures. And most pro traders actually day trade futures, I think. But the good thing about Topstep X is that there's no commission. So if you look at all these commissions here, 0 commissions. The fees are only $2.80 per trade. If I'm trading regular E-mini contracts. If I'm trading micro contracts, they're like 74 cents in fees. So they're tiny in terms of fees per trade if I'm trading micro contracts. And I think that's a huge edge that a lot of people miss out on. Like, you're going to probably spend more. If you're buying micro contracts on TOS, you're going to pay more commission than that. And so it's genuinely valuable. And most day traders lose. Almost all day traders lose. And to be honest, you're probably going to lose as well, because most day traders lose. The difference is that if you lose on Topstep versus funding yourself, you only lose $49 for the base one, right? And that's a very small amount of money. But if you pass it, you get $50K in funding with a 90% split, and they pay out over $40 million to their traders. They fund thousands of traders a year. They're one of the most legit in the world, and they have some of the best rules in the funding game, you know, versus anybody else. They have some of the best rules in the game. If you want to check them out, here's the link. It's a great way to limit your risk. Most day traders lose, and so I'm always honest about that. But if you want to check it out, here's the link. Yeah, SoFi is up. And you can kind of see we made some money on our last few trades, but we're down $10 so far on this one. I just want to see if we bounce back. I'm in 4 contracts, micro contracts. Yeah, I know a lot of people are talking about SoFi here. I'm going to start getting ready. I'm already up $45 on the day, so I'm already up decently on the day. And so we're trading into profit. SoFi's kind of up. It's not up that much. Like, there's SoFi on the right. It's kind of up. It's not up that much. All right, so we're back to almost flat here. Now we're green. A little green. Almost green. I will take profit very quickly on this trade. I like that big downwick pressure. All right, so we just took half off there, locked it in. We just took another half off, locked that in. So we are making money on this trade almost certainly now. Again, here's the link if you want to check it out. It's a learning process. Yeah, almost all day traders lose, and it really takes time. Alright. Oh man, look at that pop up. So we did just pop up a lot. I'm gonna go ahead and cut that. So yeah, we just made 15-20 bucks there on that trade. So we are up on the day about $70. So not too shabby. We'll take it so far. Yeah, SoFi is not up that much. And SoFi is kind of a buy now, pay later company. Right? I'm pretty sure that's what they do. SoFi, short for Social Financial, is an American finance company that provides a broad range of services. Lending, personal loans, home loans, banking, cash management, interest rates, no account fees, direct deposit perks, SoFi Invest, fractional shares, crypto trading, financial planning, insurance. So They differentiate themselves with a membership model. They offer customers not just finance services, but also career coaching, networking, event, and other offers. Yeah, I mean, they're just a... Unsecured loans, often used for consolidating debt or funding large purchases, mortgage and home refinance. Yeah, bank earnings are already out. We already covered most of them. Yeah, Affirm is buy now, pay later, right? But again, here's one I call the 1 minute monster indicator. It's not perfect though, although I would say it's generally pretty accurate. The only thing I gotta change about this one. I like the 5 minute monster here. Yeah, this 5 minute monster is probably the most effective one, I would say. I wouldn't say it's a low level meme stock. Its actual range, like SoFi's range here, is pretty small. It doesn't have the biggest range. So it's not like it's flying up. I mean, percentage wise, it's moving up and down, but you can kind of see it's not, I don't know. Like, here's a yearly chart, you know, and SoFi in that perspective is green on the year. So it's up on the year lately. Here's 2024 start right here. So it started off at about, you know, 850. It's now at 10s plus. So it's doing okay this year. You know, SoFi, the problem is what affected it. What affected SoFi negatively is what affects a lot of companies, which is early hype got too big, right? So what happens a lot of the time is that early on in a company's life, they IPO and they get super high of pushes up. They get really freaking high. And then eventually, inevitably, people realize that the company, while it's good, it's not justifying the valuations that they're giving it per share price. And so that's when the correction starts. And then sometimes they get another resurgence and they do something else, right? You see this a lot. You see this with like Beyond Meat, with like Peloton, like all those companies got really overhyped really, really early. And, you know, they just didn't end up being justified in terms of what they do. Oh yeah, almost all day traders lose money for sure. Can't see anything? Well, then you're on. I mean, y'all can see. Easier to deal with than other banks. I don't know. The problem with SoFi is like, and I'm sure they're FDIC insured and all that stuff. But when it comes to, when it goes to banks, I want big banks. You know, like I don't want one where I gotta worry about like stuff happening. You know, and smart people with money usually spread it out so that like if every bank insures your money $250,000, smart people diversify that into multiple different banks so they don't put too much in one bank and take risks over $250, if that makes sense. $2 billion deal. That's where at this price. Yeah, well, what's the PE ratio? Let's take a look. So let's see what the PE ratio is. So SoFi has a PE ratio of minus 1150. So they're losing money still. Let's take a look at the EPS graph from SoFi. So here's SoFi. Let's take a look at their EPS graph. So yeah, they're just still losing money. They're starting to teeter around profits though. And so if their next quarter, when's their earnings? Let me take a look. If their next quarter shows a profitable quarter, we'll actually get a real PE ratio for SoFi. So yeah, so their earnings, they're expecting 6-cent profit per share on October 29th for SoFi. And so if they again, if they actually have good earnings, which is better than if they actually have at least as expected, or even if it's lower than expected, if they can remain positive and have another profitable quarter, then you can actually get a real PE ratio for SoFi. So that's good. If we look at their revenue, let's take a look. So this is EPS is margins, right? So EPS is margins. We can take a look at revenue to get a better picture of kind of what's going on with them. All right, so here is their revenue, and their revenue looks good, honestly. So again, yeah, here's their revenue. Now it's slowed down a little bit this past quarter, but it's almost up to $1 billion in revenue. So they had 861 million. Here they had 91 million revenue. Here 910 million. 861 million. So the revenue looks pretty good. Their growth is slowing down, I think, a little bit. Yeah, you can kind of see the growth has slowed some, but they still look okay. You know, so I think this next quarter is actually really important for SoFi. I think it's actually genuinely like pretty important. And their earnings are in about 2 weeks. So yeah, so if this is their fourth quarter, that they can actually calculate a PE ratio for it. Right, exactly. Robinhood CEO. Is Robinhood earnings tomorrow? Yeah, so this morning, or today after the ending bell, we got United Airlines, IB, JB Hunt, Pinnacle, Smart, Omnicom, Hancock Whitney, Equity Bank, Fulton, and a couple other ones. Tomorrow morning, we got Morgan Stanley, Abbott, US Bank, Prologis, First Community, and more. We got Alcoa, Kinder Morgan, Rexford. Yeah, I don't see any. Robinhood earnings are not until October 30th. Can you share your thoughts on Walgreens this morning? Walgreens is a risky company, I think. It's down big. I remember I was buying up Walgreens. I was buying up Walgreens when it was at like 20 and 30. And I thought I was buying a discount, like a cheap. But it just kind of kept on. Yeah, it just kind of kept on dipping. I think Walgreens is a really risky stock, you know, but it might be cheap down here. There might be an argument for a dip buy. The question is, how low can it go? I still think it could obviously go lower, but yeah. Oh no, he's just talking for what? Hey, later, Lolo. Have a great day. Yeah. Yeah, NASDAQ trying to run. This deal allows SoFi to expand profits without having to use its own capital. It's an event, not earnings. Got you. Yeah. Remember to hit the like button. John's channel is the best. Hey, thanks so much, Lolo. I appreciate it. All right, guys. So, again, right now we're sitting waiting. We don't really have any. We got Canadian CPI data. I don't know how much this is going to impact everything, but we got Canadian CPI data early this morning. Oh, we got the New York Empire State Manufacturing Index today. I completely forgot about that. Alright guys, so yeah, we got the Empire State Manufacturing data coming out. We'll see how it goes. We also have Canadian. Yeah, so we got Bank of America earnings. Yeah, so we got 4 minutes left, guys. Empire State Manufacturing Index in 4 minutes. We'll see how it goes. I don't know how much it's going to move markets. We'll put it in sub-only mode as well, though, chat. So if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. I appreciate it. Last 12 quarters are triple beats for SoFi. No, I believe it, man. I believe it. Yeah, I've seen it. I've seen people say that, so... And again, if you haven't already, check out Topstep. Topstep funded program and futures. They give you a demo, test your skill with it. If you pass the test, they fund you. If you fail, you only lose what you pay for it in this case. Coin here's SoFi. People are talking about SoFi. We also have some, again, in this case, the base package is only $49 a month. And so you can basically pay $49 a month, have a test of your skill. And this is where it's valuable. It's a perfect middle ground of pressure. You're still risking something on Topstep. So you're still risking something. Are you risking thousands of dollars like you would need to do to put the money up yourself? No, you're not. And instead, your risk is limited. But if you pass the test, you get $50K in funding with a 90% split on the base one. So 90% split is similar to funding yourself. The risk is noticeably less. And most pro day traders trade futures, in my opinion. The patterns are very similar to blue chip stocks. You can day trade the S&P, the NASDAQ, gold, currencies. And the biggest edge in funding is zero commission on Topstep. If you look at this here, so here's all my trades, 74 cents in fees with micro contracts. So I can make $15 and still net profit. If I'm trading regular E-mini contracts, I can make $45, $25, $10 and still net profit. And that's a huge edge for funding. Some of the best rules in the funding game. And we are going to day trade a little bit more later, chat. So stick around for that. They are a sponsor affiliate of mine, though. They pay me money. I'm biased. We got the Empire State data coming out in about a minute here. Understand they pay me money. I'm biased. I can't guarantee anything. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. Always make your own assessment. Trade smart, guys. I can't guarantee a freaking thing. I do trade off stream. You're not going to see all my trades. All right, guys, here we go. So I'm going to put this regular chart up. We're going to put the SPY up, gold up on the right side here. Here's gold. And then we're going to keep Tesla up just because Tesla is relevant for manufacturing here too. So here's the SPY. Here's gold. We got 45 seconds before this report drops. Again, they are expecting for the Empire State data 3.4. 3.4. So higher is stronger manufacturing sector. Weaker is lower manufacturing sector. So 3.4 is the neutral level, the expected level. All right, 15 seconds, chat. 15 seconds. All right, 5 seconds. I don't know how much this is going to move markets. We'll see. We also have Canadian CPI dropping simultaneously. So here we go. Here's the report. And 11.9 negative. 11.9 negative. Down minus 11.9 is what happened. Canadian CPI actually showed up a little bit better than expected. Year over year CPI came in at 1.6 versus 1.8. Month over month CPI came in at minus 0.4% versus minus 0.2% expected here. So Canadian CPI came in a little bit better than expected. New York Empire State manufacturing data showed minus 11.9. So worse manufacturing data than expected here. Although it's not moving markets, I don't think. We did have Citigroup earnings show up. So Citigroup earnings are out as well. So Citigroup posted 151 EPS versus 131 expected, 20.32 billion versus 19.83 billion expected fiscal year revenue is 80 to 81 billion. They expected 80.36 billion. They see 2024 X market slightly down year over year, expects quarter 424 to be roughly flat sequentially. And so again, we'll put the US data up. Canadian CPI did show up a little bit better than expected, slightly better than expected. A little bit worse manufacturing data than expected here as well, though. Is this data important? Not really. Not really. All right, guys. So yeah, so today we had bank earnings, Citigroup. Well, did we have Wells Fargo today? What else do we have? We had United Health, Bank of America, Walgreens. Almost everything beat today, chat. Almost everything beat today. And you can follow me on X at Beginner Trades. We post a breakdown of all the big earnings that release every day. So we post a breakdown of all the big earnings. You know. And so at Beginner Trades is my Twitter handle, X handle. I still call it Twitter, but at Beginner Trades is my X handle. Alright, so this includes United Health Group, Bank of America. Let's see what else we got. Yeah, United Health, Bank of America. We had Walgreens, Citigroup, Goldman Sachs, Johnson & Johnson, Schwab, PGR, Progressive, PNC Financial, State Street. So many big earnings plays today. Ericsson, ACI, Albertsons, FBK, FB Financial. Anything else? That's basically it, but tons of big earnings. Yeah, so we just made that post. Manufacturing is getting destroyed. This is your best music. Hey, thanks so much, man. Yeah, we appreciate it. All right, guys. So yeah, we got a couple of minutes left. Oh man, almost everything beat though, right? So if you look at Earnings Whisper today, almost everything beat. Like, look at this. Literally almost everything. Like, everything beat almost. So interesting. $10, $15, $24 most SoFi news. Nova Credit and SoFi expand on a multi-year relationship with cash flow underwriting capabilities. Top 3 DJs in the world. Yeah, my friend Kelly gave me the nickname Jukebox Johnny because I wanted to be the DJ all the time. It's like a nickname that that I have now. A lot of my friends would call me that too after she gave me that name. Yeah, bro, people hated on Bilal Muhammad, but like that dude did that. I can't even get mad at him for it. And I usually don't like wrestlers, but he did that, and I don't know why people hate on him. You know, like Bilal literally Everybody doubted him. Everybody told him he was going to get beat. And that man literally took down Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards had just fought Kamaru Usman, right? One of the best wrestlers in the world, really, in the UFC at least. Maybe not in the world, but one of the best wrestlers in the UFC, arguably the best. Had just fought Usman. Leon Edwards stuffed every one of Usman's takedowns and basically destroyed Usman 2 times in a row. And then, so everybody thought he was going to do the same thing to Bilal. And Bilal actually did that. Like, I was actually impressed. His boxing looked crisp, too. And so, I don't know why people are hating on Bilal, but his boxing was legit. Anyways. Any update on the Dow? On the Dow, let me see. What is the Dow? YM. Yeah, I mean, the Dow's interesting. It's definitely less diversified of a index, but it's doing really well this year too. 2024, how much is the Dow up? The Dow started the year at roughly 37 and 37.8 thousand. So if we look at percentage wise, we are currently at 43.3. So Dow is up 14.5% on the year. So the Dow is underperforming the S&P or the NASDAQ. Yeah, I can't really judge anybody for how they treat their viewers. The internet's weird, man. The internet's weird. People try to find whatever reason they can to critique. It usually comes from their own insecurity for whatever reason. And so there's a couple ways you could approach it. The easiest way is just to turn it into content. If somebody hates, if somebody gets weird, just turn it into content. They're actually, and again, I'll tell you this, nothing drives somebody more to success than haters, right? Like, again, 5 years ago, people were making fun of me. They were talking all this smack. They said whatever they wanted to say. And, most of them are crickets now. And so I don't know if people realize that by hating, you're actually sparking a fire under people, and you're making people really, really, really want to prove you wrong. And that's a powerful thing, man. That's a powerful thing. I think I'm pretty ambitious of a person. I got a lot of different stuff I do. And my wife asked me why a long time ago, and she'll still say this story. She'll ask me why a long time ago, and my response was because F them is my response, and that's absolutely how I feel. I've told people once, haters can watch the channel. They're gonna be upset because they're gonna have to watch us grow larger and larger, and it's gonna burn. If you don't like me, it's gonna burn, and that's okay. Y'all will live, Avocado guy, yeah, that dude lost weight. He did great. Right, we don't thank him enough, for sure. And again, a lot of them don't understand. I think people just get insecure, man. I think it is what it is, right? I appreciate you guys. Haters, it's the Conor McGregor effect. Some people tune in to watch you lose. They still tune in though. Even disliking is engagement, right? YouTube looks at it all as engagement, and so I appreciate it. 25% is not sustainable. Well, because it's me and Pawn running the channel. Dream of Stuff. That's Pawn and I. You're hard not to like. Hey, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting subject, but I'm not going to spend too long on it. People generally are just unhappy with themselves. You know what I mean? People are just generally unhappy with themselves, and that's okay. That leads them to lash out. But if you direct that energy towards something positive, you gotta, it's gonna do a lot more for you, than just sitting around finding something wrong with some random YouTuber on the internet. You're gonna have a lot more success if you direct that energy towards something positive. Anyways, Palantir also announced their quarter 3 2024 earnings for November 4th after the bell. Yeah, Palantir is an interesting company as well. So Palantir, I've been watching Palantir for years. So I've been watching Palantir genuinely for years. So they're mostly software and data analytics. They specialize in big data platforms designed for large institutions, including government, defense, private enterprise. So the platform Palantir Gotham is widely used by government agencies, specifically defense intelligence and law enforcement. It helps integrate, manage, and analyze data sets to detect patterns and make data-driven decisions. So CIA, FBI, military have employed Gotham for counter, stuff. Foundry serves as commercial platform, like their software, including Fortune 500 companies that use it. It helps them integrate siloed data across the organization. And then there's Apollo. There's a bunch of different stuff that they do. So yeah. Here, give me a hug, man. You gotta give me a hug, buddy. All right, I love you. Y'all are late. Love you. Have a good day, dude. All right. Yeah, sorry. My family's in here. The OG CIA. Yeah, I mean, Palantir, again, I've watched it grow. Here's gold on the right side. Here's Palantir. Palantir at 43.40s. Do you think banks will seek to retrace yesterday's upward move after the RTH open? Maybe. It depends. Like, they had earnings today, so we'll see if we get like a broader, longer-term reaction from the place, from earnings. They hate you because they ain't you? Yeah, I mean, maybe. I think they just dislike themselves. And I think, I think they just dislike themselves. And I think, the biggest haters are actually people who have tried to be on YouTube and failed. Right, so people that have tried to be on YouTube and failed are generally like the biggest haters, right? Like I had a guy who knew my son, his son hung out with my son, and like this dude weasels his way in, and like, he told me a story about how he had gotten kicked out of this other YouTube channel that he had with his friends about crypto, like a crypto YouTube channel, like they had kicked him out of it, right? And so I think he wanted to like prove, the people that kicked him out, that he was still doing well. So he desperately wanted to be like a co-host on my channel, but like I noticed some of his behaviors were not good, right? Like they were not like good for me in general. They were risky, I guess is the point. And so pretty quickly I noticed some of his behaviors, and like pretty soon I would get bots being like, hey, you should make this guy co-host. You should make him co-host. Do it now. Make him co-host. And like getting all these different, like, it just got weird. And so people get strange. And usually people who are the biggest haters are people who have tried to do something like this and just not been good at it, and those are the type of people who will like try to always frame it in a negative light. Like I've seen channels with millions of subscribers get like 200 or 300 people watching their live streams. And so my small streams will get like 400 to 500. My big streams will get like 5,000 to 10,000 concurrent viewers. And so it just depends on what's going on in the market. Like we're not going to have everybody tune in every day, but like sometimes they try to frame it like it's somehow bad or like we're not doing good. And in general, like I said, people are unhappy with themselves, I think. So it's okay. First they make fun and then they cricket. Yeah, I don't know. I think people doubt a lot of stuff, dude. I reached out to a lot of friends trying to create this YouTube channel a long time ago. And some of them wanted to do it, and then others were just kind of like, hello. Okay, I mean, I can't go close it now, so it's just going to have to be open. So most bank earnings have already happened. Wait. Where'd it go? Oh, man. Where's the time frame? How did I get to there? Data window, my D charts. I don't know what time frame this is on. There we go. That's much better. All right, cool. Love your perspective, brother. Number one most sensible YouTube out there. Hey, thanks so much. Most bank earnings are already out. So yeah, so bank earnings, again, we had Bank of America. CFO says liquidity remains strong. But like we've had some earnings already out. So Citigroup, BDPS, beat revenue. Good guidance for Citigroup. Bank of America, Charles Schwab posted earnings. Charles Schwab posted 77-cent profit versus 75 expected, revenue of 4.85 billion. So versus 4.78, so better than expected EPS and revenue for Schwab. Goldman Sachs posted 840 EPS versus 693 expected, revenue of 12.7 bill versus 11.7 billion expected, so better than expected EPS and revenue for Goldman. State Street, better than expected EPS and revenue as well. And so almost everything came in better than expected. Walgreens, better than expected EPS and revenue. What else we got? Bank of America, better than expected EPS and revenue. So everything was basically better than expected. If you look at like Earnings Whisper, look at all this. So everything's better than expected here. Almost everything better than expected EPS and revenue. So it's interesting. Were the earnings positive? Yeah, C3 AI's lost a lot of hype. Like, I covered their earnings for a while. And they have one of the best symbols in the game for sure. But C3 AI was super hyped up for a while. They've been mostly down over the past 2 years for C3 AI. So they were doing really, really well, and now they're a little quiet. Well, the economy's not perfect for sure. And stock earnings don't necessarily correlate with our economy, right? So stocks can have good earnings, but it doesn't always mean the economy is thriving. Like, the economy is good and bad, right? It's an election year, and so, we cut rates pretty early, in my opinion. I think we should have waited, but we cut rates pretty early because it's an election year. But inflation is the risk. Inflation and prices have gone up dramatically over a 5-year period, so that's the real reason most people are unhappy. Yeah, and if we look at the actual rate cut arguments here for most people, right? If we look at the actual rate cut argument, 90% thinking we're going to do 25. This is 25. 90% of people, basically 88% of people, no cut / pause. Only 12% of people. So, yeah, I mean, the stock market, chat, and the economy are just different animals completely. They really are. They're just different. They're completely different animals. And so you just got to be aware of that and understand, like, it's a different thing. It's a different game. The economy mostly, like, you might think a thriving economy is, like, always good and always beneficial, but it's not necessarily. And sometimes, like, you could have good economy and bad markets. You can have bad economies and good markets, right? Like, to put this into perspective, post-2020, the Federal Reserve stepped in and did quantitative tightening. They did a tightening cycle, or restrictive cycle, in which they raised rates aggressively. They raised the federal funds rate aggressively, which brought interest rates up around the country. And then they paused them there for a year straight. They did quantitative tightening where they reduced their balance sheet over time and took liquidity away from those markets, trying to push the economy down to control inflation. But in theory, during that QT cycle, and we're still in QT, but during that restrictive tightening cycle, the stock market in theory should have gone down, but it didn't. right? It didn't because it's two different animals completely. The stock market was ripping up actually simultaneously with the tightening phase of markets. Oh, sorry. Didn't mean to slam it. Yeah, so sorry. My family's out here trying to get to school on time. Yeah, there's stuff going on overseas. Sorry, Jan. I don't know if it's Jan or Jan. Sorry. Bruce is a barker. Rosie, our baby, does never barks. She's too good of a dog for that. Bruce, he's a young pup. He barks. All right, guys. So yeah, so. All right, chat. So we are going to day trade here. Let's see. Again, earnings were mostly all beneficial today. So earnings were all pretty good. So yeah, earnings were mostly pretty good. We'll see what we get, chat. You know, we'll see what we get. We had the Empire State data come out. We got stocks. We got Nvidia, Tesla making moves. Resale sales data. Yeah, so we're going to be trading NASDAQ futures today. Alright. We got that in there. Let's see what else we got. We got a little bit of pre-market stuff going live. Again, we got bank earnings today, so we did have bank earnings. John is a good parent, I try. I know this is random, but Wolf is a company that mines silicon carbide for semiconductors right outside North Carolina. Yeah. Yeah. Alright, guys. So yeah, we got a couple minutes left. I didn't do a poll today, guys. Let's do a poll. Does the SPY break highs again today? This is a good question. Yes or no? Does the SPY break highs again? Let me know. Vote on the poll. Let me know how you feel. One of the Fed just said inflation is still here and they want cuts. Citigroup CFO Mason cites good progress on simplification and regulatory efforts with more work to be done. Target announced exclusive Taylor Swift The Eras tour book available on Black Friday. Bank of America CFO says liquidity remains strong, says we expect to be at $14.3 billion. Yeah, I forgot to do a poll. It's all good. We got a late poll. It's okay. 74% says the SPY breaks highs again. To put this into perspective, here's the SPY, right? The new lifetime highs on the SPY are 585.20s, 585.20s. And so 585.20s right here. Basically, we pushed up and broke that high right before the close yesterday. Right before the close yesterday. So this level is the new lifetime high. So this is the new lifetime high up here. We'll see if we break it. We got Palantir up there. We're looking at gold. We're looking at Nvidia today as well. Nvidia down on some news, but it's getting close to the lifetime high levels for it as well. 140.70 still the lifetime highs for Nvidia. So we're pretty close to that actually. So here's the lifetime highs for Nvidia. We'll do the same here with this one. You know, it could probably go a little bit higher. Yeah, that's the new lifetime high for Nvidia. So we'll see if it can break that lifetime high as well. It's up there. Yeah, NASDAQ is only 10 points from the morning high. NASDAQ wants highs. This is just nuts. You guys don't see any pullback, man. I am clueless. Yeah, I mean, listen. It's not that... Like, people have to understand, man. Like, look. Here's what happens. This is what genuinely happens. Right? Is that the market goes up like this over time. Right? Like, this is what the market's going to do. It might have a big crash, and then it's going to get back up there, usually continue up and go like that. Like, that's the nature of the beast. Like, this is what it does right here. Like, that is what the market does over time. The market long-term chart will look like this over time. We're talking about index funds like the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow. They're going to look like this over time. Right? But the problem is that people overpredict crashes. And if you watch YouTubers and politics and all this different stuff that will influence your perception and bias and sentiment for all this stuff, then you might think we have to crash. And so what happens is that, like, the market behaves as it normally does, which means like high breaks. Like, you're going to break highs here, you're going to break highs here, you're going to break highs here. But if you were told the market was going to crash back here, right? This might look like craziness to you. You're like, oh my gosh, we just keep breaking highs. I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. When really, it does. That's what the stock market does. If we look at the SPY here, long term, this is a long-term chart on the SPY. Back in 1995, it was at $45 a share. Since 1995, it's gone all the way up to almost $600 a share. Look at this. This is what it does over time on the SPY. And this is going to keep happening for it as well. This is not anything new or groundbreakingly crazy. Like, this is normal price action. This is what it does. It's one of the strongest index funds in the world. It's why Warren Buffett said compound interest is one of the great wonders of the world. Why did he say this? Is because if you compound the gains and use those gains to, like, grow your portfolio over time, if your portfolio grows at a measly 7-8%, right? Like, the compounding gains that you get from that, like, look, so you got 50,000. Let's say you earned 7%. We're going to give a very conservative 7% here with compounding, right? Over a 30-year period, that $50,000 with just 7% compounding will turn into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. In 30 years, that $50,000 is going to turn into almost $400,000. and 30 years through compounding. And so this is the nature of the beast. This is exactly why I always tell people this. This is the single biggest edge markets will ever give you. The single most predictable edge markets will ever give you. The single most probable edge the markets will ever freaking give you is this right here. You know, is this right here. And so my point is, when you have people telling you always the market's going to crash, maybe they're right. Like the market might crash, you know, but it doesn't matter, because long term it's still going to look like this chart right here. And you can pull up every major index fund. I can pull up the NASDAQ, same chart. I can pull up the Dow, same chart. I can pull up probably the Russell, a little bit different. I can pull up gold, right? So these are the best inflation hedges in the game. I can pull up gold. Similar chart. I can pull up what's another one? Real estate investment trust. Not as good, but still, my point remains. Right? It just hasn't been around that long. It only opened up in 05. But the point remains. And so again, I'm going to say this again, and hopefully people like hear me. Like, I'm not telling you what to do. I'm not an investment professional. But if you find yourself betting against these index funds long term, it's going to burn, because they're going to continue to go up. It's the biggest sucker bet in the market. Like, obviously. Why? Because these things are going to go up over time. You can't get wrapped up in politics and all this other stuff and like hating on companies or disliking CEOs, or it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what it is. Blue chip stocks are generally going to go up over time. So just don't fall into that trap where you're trying to be the next Michael Burry, and then when you're wrong about it, you just don't understand what's happening, you know. Hope that makes sense. Yeah, Russell's small cap, so it's probably less of a look at it. But the point remains, right? When baby boomers are gone, it should start trending down in theory. Less people investing. No. I mean, it doesn't matter who's here. There's always new generations of investors, right? By the time baby boomers are all gone, the millennials and other generations are going to be older. And so they're going to basically swap that out, and they're going to start spending their money, you know, on the same things usually, and rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat. It's the nature of life in the economy. Yeah, you just don't want to fall. Like, again, I see people fall into this trap where usually, like, they watch the news on either side, right? And then the news tells them it's the end of the world, they should run, and the market's going to crash. And so they find themselves in that position where they always think the market's going to crash. And so they don't invest, they don't buy into stuff, they don't DCA into anything. They just kind of sit waiting, afraid, with their head in the sand. And then markets go up. That makes them emotional because they were told the market was going to crash, and so then they critique it and say it's not a real move and it's manipulation or whatever, and then it goes up higher and they're just like, I can't believe this, you know. And it's like, well, you just, you know, you bet against the market long term, and you always lose when you do that, you know. Hey, what's up, Kimberly? Good morning. Yeah, almost all beats in earnings pre-market. United Health posted 715 EPS versus 7 expected, 100.8 billion in revenue versus 99 expected. Bank of America posted 81 cents profit versus 78 cents expected. 25.3 billion is what they estimated. They ended up showing 48.87 billion. Bank of America killed it. They did great. They posted almost double the expected revenue. So Bank of America revenue, I'm surprised Bank of America is not up more from this. BAC posted better than expected EPS and almost 100% higher revenue than expected. They expected, again, 25 billion. They posted 49 billion. Walgreens posted 40 cents or 39 cents reported earnings versus 36 cents expected, slightly better. They posted 37.5 billion revenue versus 36 billion expected. Citigroup posted 151 versus 134 expected, almost 20 billion in revenue versus They posted over 100% better than expected revenue. They expected 20 billion. They posted 43.5 billion. Goldman Sachs posted 840 EPS versus 685 expected. 12.15 billion is what was expected. They posted 31.5 billion. So again, another 100% plus better than expected revenue wise. Johnson & Johnson, slightly better than expected revenue, 22.17 expected. They posted 22.47. They posted 242 versus 222. So a little bit better than expected for Johnson & Johnson. Charles Schwab posted slightly better EPS, 77 cents versus 75 cents. Slightly better than expected revenue at 4.85 versus 4.76 expected. So a lot of companies beat, especially in banking. They did much better than expected here. Dream of stuff. So how old are you, brother? Are you a baby boomer yourself? Genuine question. To put it into perspective for some people who might, I think most people understand the term. Baby boomers were the generation that came from soldiers in World War II. Basically, soldiers in World War II went and fought. When they came home, they had been at war for years. And so when they came home in the late 40s, early 50s, they started having babies, right? That generation, those babies that they had were the baby boomer generation. It was the babies born from veterans in World War II, right? Veterans in World War II were their parents. It's basically my generation's grandparents were the ones that had them. And so my dad and mom are both baby boomers, just so you understand the actual word. A lot of people use the word baby boomers, but yeah. Yeah, I mean, so you're in the mid 30s. Yeah, I don't think it's going to have as big of an impact as you think. I think that the circle of life happens in that regard where, you have generations that sprout up, but people generally spend. The baby boomer generations were good and all, but I think that there was some naivete with them in general. But of course, there's also that with millennials, with Gen X, with everybody. All right, guys, we got 20 minutes until the market opens. 20 minutes. We got retail sales data the day after tomorrow. And again, we're going to be day trading live today at the opening bell. We'll see how that goes. Yeah, I tend to agree. Every generation is a little hypocrites. Yeah, I mean, it just depends, man. I think every generation gets some things right, some things wrong. Like I was messing with my daughter because like young people have so much slang now. They have cap, no cap, Riz, all this different stuff. And I was joking around with my daughter, like, listen, we had slang when I was young. When I was a teenager, we would say tight. We'd be like, hey, that's a tight A truck, or that's a dope A truck. I'm not gonna curse, but so we all had slang that we used that is now pretty cringe when you get older and you look at it. But the young generations, man, the slang is just too much. It's too much. It's too much slang. And everybody wants to sound cool and kind of hip, and so they use slang more and more and more. But whenever there's a level at which there's too much slang. You know, every generation had it. Like in the 70s and 60s, they said groovy. Like that's a groovy truck, you know. And so every generation has it. But the recent generations, the slang usage is so high, it just makes it much more like cringy to watch. Yeah, rad, early 90s. GameStop just announced a collab with PSA. That's great news. That's great news. Yeah, they're up some. I think that's the better move. Again, honestly, I've been saying this for a while. Like, has anybody listened to my what I've been saying about GameStop for years? I've been saying this exact freaking thing. And I've honestly had some people argue against what I was saying here. What I said was the path for GameStop is that they enter the collectibles market. Pokemon cards, sports collectibles. The users, the customers are very similar. If you go to a comic store, you'll see a couple things. You go to a comic store, yes, they sell comics. A lot of them sell collectibles, sports memorabilia, and all that stuff combined. And then they also have like playing card sections too. And so GameStop entering that market is the very obvious next step in their business, right? Like they need to, because the users are still the same. They still trade. People love Pokemon cards and they love video games, you know, and so it's the next step, I think, obviously. Using the word cringe is cringe? I don't know. Cringe is pretty old. It's not something that's new. My daughter tried to tell me that sheesh was like a new thing, like saying sheesh. And I've been telling her, like, dude, people have been saying sheesh, what, for 50 years now? Let me ask ChatGPT. The expression sheesh has been around for quite some time, originally emerging as a slang term in the mid-20th century. Initially, it was used to express annoyance, surprise, or disbelief, similar to geez, in a toned-down form. Over the years, its usage evolved. It was adopted into everyday language as a more casual explanation to express anything from frustration to astonishment. But my daughter tried to act like it was some new thing. And I get it, young people are using it now, but people have been saying sheesh since the 1950s. Yeah, I agree with that. Kimberly says inflexibility and an inability to see other point of views comes to mind when I hear boomer. Just my experience. Most seem to still live in another time and don't get that things are way different now. Yeah, like I said, I think there's some naive aspects of it. I think technology has changed so much, right? And I think one of the things the baby boomer generation doesn't understand is the pure potential of technology right now. You know, like the internet is big and it's going to continue to get big. And I think people, humans in general, tend to fear what they don't understand. And I think a lot of that generation, some of them use the internet, but a lot of them don't, and they don't understand why. And so I think them, in terms of like business, I think they're going to struggle some, you know. Like if you want to market yourself as a doctor or a lawyer, you know, the young generation, they're going to know how to use the internet to gain marketing traction. You know, versus a lot of baby boomers who refuse to use it. They want to go by the old system where they're just kind of shaking hands and meeting people. And both of those can have pros and cons. But I think in general, you got to adapt. And I think that's where a lot of them are going to get left behind. And that's why I'm also saying, you know, people underestimate these new generations that are sprouting up. You know, somebody said that they think that after the boomer generation is done, that we're going to see less spending. And I don't know, man. I think over time, spending is going to continue to increase as it does. Regardless of that generation or not, you know. And I think that generation has some good insight, but I also think that, you know, and again, it might be just because I'm young and younger. I'm definitely not young, but oh no, I agree. A lot of boomers created the technology, sure, 100%, you know. I think a lot of Gen X did, though, more so than Boomers. Boomers maybe laid the groundwork for some of the early versions of it, like Bill Gates as an example, or is Bill Gates? I'm pretty sure he's a Boomer. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah, so Bill Gates is technically a baby boomer, you know. Stella, yeah, I've heard some good things about SLS, but I don't know enough about the company to say good or bad. It's a penny stock that I'm really skeptical of. TLT calls could be a long-term play here. Yeah, so long-term bonds. So I'm trying to think of so TLT is bond prices. When interest rates go down, bond prices go up and yields go down. And so buying call options in TLT would in turn mean that you think interest rates are going to continue falling. Is that correct? I'm just trying to make sure I understand the correlation here in your terms of, you're saying you think buying TLT calls is a good move. Is that correlation correct? That I just laid out. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, dream of stuff. I think you might be looking, if your family was like that, I think you might be looking at your own specific environment, but not taking into account the broad statistics behind it, I guess, is the easiest way to put it. Like, basically, your family might have been like that, but I certainly don't think a majority of baby boomers were like that. I think it's a very small percentage of them that embrace technology in the same way. And so because of that, I think, you know, I don't think we can look at them like they're, you know, but maybe I'm wrong. I could be wrong. I don't know. Anyways, let me check a look at this. I heard somebody say, yeah, we're giving baby boomer quotes. Number one from 1952. I heard someone say the other day that everybody was getting too darned lazy and nobody wants to work anymore. That's the truth if I ever heard it. Every generation thinks the same thing. You know, the difference though is that a lot of young people, like I've had people that I know in my family that don't understand what I'm doing here on YouTube. They genuinely don't understand it. And they think that, like, in terms of supporting my family, that I could support my family better going work somewhere else, you know, and I disagree. I think the amount that I make running this YouTube channel and educating people on the truth behind trading in general is much better, you know, much better. But I think that's a big generational difference. And I think every generation has that type of stuff too. I have no idea what you should buy now to earn money. No idea. TLT is just oversold technically. Yeah, maybe. Declining populations comes less consumer spending. Maybe. You might be right, Thomas. I'm not sure, man. You could be right. Progressive Q3 EPS. The nature of work has changed 100%. Yeah, it depends on where we point out, where we like zoom in to population wise. All right, look at Tesla, guys. Tesla up to 220. GameStop moving a little bit. We'll see if it holds. Apple up to 234. Nvidia at 137. So we're gonna get ready to day trade like we always do here, chat. So we're gonna day trade the opening bell. We'll see how it goes. We're up some today. Let me see how much we're up. We are up. Yeah, we're up about $60 today. About 60 bucks. Not too bad. We'll see if we can build some more. Nice little upward trend that we're seeing in stocks. Yeah, hit that like button, hit the notification bell. I appreciate it. I've not held an actual job in 10 years. I make more money on the market. Yeah, I mean, I think people make, like, I think it comes from how experienced you are with the internet, you know? Like, again, like, an example of it, and all I can really go by is my own personal experiences, you know? But, like, when I was young, I loved the internet. When I was 10, 11, 12, you know, I've told this story before, but, like, I remember I really liked The Legend of Zelda. And so I would create websites, GeoCities websites, and stuff like that based off of The Legend of Zelda. And some of them actually got some views. Like early in the day, on the early internet in the mid 2000s and early 2000s, really. This was like the early 2000s, late 90s. I would create websites about Legends of the Ocarina of Time, and I would create walkthroughs. I would play the video game, and I would create online walkthroughs of it on the internet. You know, and some of them got some good views. I would download emulators and ROMs for Pokemon games off the internet, you know. And so very early on in my life, I love the internet and I use the internet. And this is something that newer generations are going to be much more embracing of, is making money online. And so I think for older generations, it's like they've always seen it the same way, where you got to go work for somebody, work a corporate job. You know, you're exchanging your manual labor and physical self, working somewhere physically, for money, right? And that's the only way to make money, you know. But newer generations are going to recognize that, like, and I've told somebody, again, it's very easy to make money online nowadays. Like, you can do a lot of different stuff. There's ways to make money. You can make at least 40 or 50 grand a year working from home online. You know, whether that includes building a business through social media, like driving Uber or Lyft, you know, Uber Eats. There's just a lot of different ways. You could be a customer service representative online now. You know, so there's just so many ways to make money online. You don't have to go work that corporate struggle, you know. And I think that's one of the beautiful parts about technology, is that is so different now versus back then. Apple's getting ready to break highs. Tesla's still pushing up. It's almost at 221. Yeah. But I love the internet. Like, I was a huge nerd early on in my life. I'm still kind of a huge nerd. But I think that benefited me, right? Like, embracing the internet at an early age benefited me. I understood the potential of the internet in terms of getting people's attention. And I think that's a powerful thing. If you can understand it, it's a powerful thing, you know. Because if you get, like, if say you run a YouTube live stream, right? If you get 100 plus people watching that live stream, like, concurrently, then you can make at least 40 or 50 grand a year, you know. And that's easier said than done. It's very difficult, but to go back to it, the easiest way to do that is monetize what you're interested in. Figure out what you like. And I know a lot of people here are going to like the stock market, but that's kind of saturated at this point. But figure out what you enjoy doing and monetize that somehow on the internet, you know. Like, that's the way, I think. And that's how you actually turn out happy in life, is like doing something like that, monetizing what you're genuinely interested in. But yeah. Bro, these magnets are the best fidget toy I could ever have. I have these ear magnets that I put on my ear for cauliflower ear, dude. This is the best fidgeting toy I could ever have. Yeah. Ocarina of Time. FTW, you know. Yeah, but if that's the case, some people just don't have the personality for a dream of stuff. And so some people are just going to justify gambling. You know what I mean? Like, some people are just going to justify gambling. Most day traders lose. And so you got to scale down your size. If you find yourself risking more and more money when you shouldn't be, and you're losing and losing, then you might want to just step away from it. You know, because most day traders lose. We got 4.5 minutes. And I always tell people the same thing. Like, I don't sell a course. I don't even claim to be a good trader. I don't charge for any content. I put out everything for free. And I actively tell people that most day traders lose money, right? You got some that are good, don't get me wrong, but most of them lose, right? And I would say most of the ones selling courses are losing traders too. So. All right, chat. 5 minutes. No, I haven't played the new one yet. It's been a while since I've played standalone video games. Usually I play online sports games now if I play video games. All right, guys. Apple dipping down, Tesla up there. I'm going to put Nvidia chart up. My ear's better. It feels a little bit better. It's still not great, but it feels better. All right, and again, guys, we are going to be day trading on Topstep's funded account program. If you want to day trade, most day traders lose money. I'm going to preface everything I say with that. They do pay me money, so I'm biased for sure because they pay me money. But it's just going to be so much cheaper to lose here than putting the money up yourself and losing there, right? It's much cheaper to lose here. If you lose here, you lose 49 bucks a month. It's not the end of the world. You still learn how to trade under pressure. If you pass it, you still get a 90% split once you're funded, which is similar to funding yourself. The risk is just noticeably less than funding yourself. Again, risking 49 bucks a month lets you learn how to trade under pressure, and if you're good enough, you can pass it and get funded. But if you're not good enough, which means you probably lose more money putting it up the money yourself, you only lose 49 bucks, right? And that's a powerful thing. And again, the biggest edge in funding is Topstep X. If you use Topstep X, there's literally zero commissions, tiny amount of fees per trade. 74 cents in fees per trade with micro contracts on Topstep X. That's a powerful thing. Although again, they pay me money. I'm definitely biased in it. I just think most day traders lose, and it's a lot cheaper to lose on Topstep than funding $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 yourself and losing that. Look at Nvidia pump up, chat. If you want to check it out, here's the link. Again, there's the link. Look at Nvidia pump up on the right side here. We're going to get ready to day trade. I'm going to buy this dip now. I know it's close to the opening bell, so it's a little risky. But I'm going to buy this dip just because Nvidia ripped up so much ahead of the open. All right, so there's 3 contracts. We're green on this now. I just want another push up. I don't want to hold this through the opening bell, so I do have like a minute and a half to take this trade. I will cut it before the open. I'm not going to sit on it through the open. Seconds. Kind of flat here. Not really doing too much. See, Nvidia's pushing up too, but I wanted to give it time. We got less than a minute. Very large pullback here. Oof. Just lost 50 bucks. We're still green on the day technically, but nasty, bro. What a drop. What a drop right before the opening bell. And it's weird because Nvidia's pushing up with it as well. I see Tesla pulling back some. And then look, it retraced the whole way down. It's all right. I want to see Apple though. Apple's falling down. I guess that's dragging the market down. Although I do still think it's probably a good place to buy it. All right, guys, we got 20 seconds left. 20 seconds left. Well, we're also going to be on Topstep TV later on this afternoon. So we're also going to be on Topstep TV. I will chill and let the opening bell play out first. All right, guys, here we go. Here's the opening bell. Y'all be safe. All right, there's the bell. Again, I'm going to let the opening bell play first. All right, so look at this huge red action here, guys. Looks like me cutting that trade was the right move, even though we did lose. Yeah, look at that craziness. And again, we are day trading on Topstep X. Amazon breaking lows. What a drop. Part of me is really tempted to buy this up with small size. We bought up one. It's a little too early. All right, so we just made $12. It's definitely too early to trade it, but it was so extended on the downside short term, I just thought it was the time. Yeah. So we're still green on the day. Part of me wants to short this here, actually. But again, I might be wrong. But I do think a lot of the time these big candle wicks fill at least 50%. Maybe not, though. I don't know. What is that? So Tesla ripping up to over 222s. Yeah. Tesla's riding up. Amazon's breaking down. Palantir breaking down. Ooh, man. Look at this little signal on Palantir, bro. That symbol's genuinely impressive for Palantir. Like, look at this. See if I can draw it out. Like, we got this signal on Palantir for one of my indicator signals. Like, look at that. And then, boom. Big breakdown right before it. Nvidia ripping up, though, so we are getting a rebound here. Y'all be careful. A lot of up wicks, down wicks, fake out pressure, scariness today. Look at this huge move up now. So again, Apple's rebounding, Nvidia's retracing a little bit, but moved up some too. Tesla's pumping up to 223s this morning, so Tesla's fighting its way back. Weird. Interesting chat. Alright, so we're moving up a little bit on Apple. I'm going to short this now. We've got 4 minutes into the open, so I'm going to start shorting 2 contracts here. We'll get up to maybe 3. See if we get a flush. Alright, so we're flat. There we go. We took a little bit of profit there. Didn't get a good fill on that. I'll short it again. 2 contracts. We got a good average here. 3 contracts now. Taking a little bit more. Now we're red. Seems like it's struggling to get over these levels though. So we're short right now, but we got that big fill up. All right, so we made a little bit back. So we lost money on that trade for sure on the last swing of things. All right, so look at that big swing up. I'm going to start to short this top now. We're going to take larger size. 4 contracts. Flat. We went green for a second. Let's see if we can rip down. There we go. All right, so we're out. So we just made a really nice like $40 or $50 trade, and we cut it very quickly here. So you can kind of see the string of trades there since the open. Alright, so we're now coming back down a little bit here, chat. See if we find the FOMC. Yeah, I'm looking at the other stuff we got going on today. So today's the 15th. We got Governor Waller. We got Adriana Kugler today. We got the FOMC meeting on the 7th. I'm pretty sure we're green today. All right, let me make sure. Yeah, we're green. Okay, good. We'll see if we can keep loading it up. I'm gonna short this, believe it or not. I don't know, I get this weird short vibe from this here, but I could be wildly wrong. There we go. All right, so we were correct about our short vibe so far, at least, but now it's pushing back up. So I don't know whether I want to short it again. I still get the short vibe from it. We'll take 3 contracts. There we go. 1 contract left. We'll hold the rest pretty close to here. I'm not going to take too much risks. Alright, so we're out. So we made money there, kind of scalping a little small. So I'm on at 1 o'clock today, I think Central Time. Let me make sure. That's right. I'm pretty sure it's 1 o'clock Central Time today. Yeah, 1 p.m. Central Time. All right, so we did, our short thesis was correct. We did get that big breakdown. I wish I could have profited some more. It's interesting too, because Apple just broke 235 highs. So Apple is getting very close to the lifetime highs of Apple. So Apple lifetime highs are way up here at 237s. I thought I drew these earlier. Apple lifetime highs are right around here. But Nvidia is chopping down sideways neutral today. I'm going to buy this dip down here. 2 contracts, take half off there. We took some profit and then now we're retracing back down, but we're gonna add to this position. We got 2 contracts now. Took a little bit of profit, but then immediately like we retraced back down, unfortunately here. Bank earnings are already out. After the closing bell, specifically today. So after the closing bell, so there we go. We were correct about that. I'm going to add to this position, see if we continue bouncing up. So after the closing bell today, we got hold on. It's having a hard time holding up here. So sorry, after the closing bell today, we got United Airlines, IB, and a couple other ones. I don't mind taking this risk. I'm going to add some size to this trade. We got 5 contracts here. 5. I want to see if we bounce. There we go. Boom. Perfect. Yep. All right, so we just made another, I don't know how much that was, but we made another like 40 bucks or so trading that. Intuition was correct. We did bounce right back up on that dip. And again, we're trading ranges right now. So far, we got a sideways range. And so if you look at what I'm doing here, when we're at the top of the range like here, what did I say? I said, hey, I think we're going to break down a little bit. I got like a breakdown intuition here, and that's exactly what we got. We broke down a little bit. Once we get to the bottom of this range down here, that's where my sentiment changes. And so I'm like, okay, well, now we're at the bottom of the range. What am I going to do? I'm going to start buying this up as it pulls back, and then we push back up. I could have maybe taken a little bit more from it here, but our intuition was correct. So far, so good. I'm not saying it's going to continue to be correct. I have no freaking idea. But yeah. After the closing bell, we got UAL earnings, IB earnings, JB Hunt earnings, Hancock Whitney earnings. And look, there's the upward move. Yep. All right, I'm going to buy this again. We're going to take 2 contracts here. A little bit smaller. I don't feel like taking more. We'll take 3. That's it. All right, we're going to take some size off of this position. Somehow I got a bad fill on it, which is all right, I guess. There we go. So we're out. We made money on it. Just bad fills all around, which is all right, I guess. Let me see what I'm up. I got to be up at least $100 today, right? Close. Close. Look at Apple. Shining up here, man. It's getting really close to lifetime highs on Apple. Nvidia's breaking down, then that's why it's dragging the market down. Tesla's up a lot today, too. Is United Airlines the first of the major airlines running earnings this season? I don't know. I think we had CCL earnings now. I might be wrong there. I'll have to go look, but I think we had some. Oh no, CCL's Carnival Cruise. What do we got? Save, which is Spirit Airlines. They post October 24th. United Airlines is this evening. What else is there? We got Frontier. What is Frontier Airlines? Or no, Delta. I mean, DAL is what I'm thinking, not Frontier. Delta, DAL. Delta is January 9th. So Delta might have already dropped their earnings, is what it looks like to me, no? When was Delta's last earnings report? October 10th. So Delta had October 10th earnings. Apple continuously pushing up, guys. Apple looks like it's about to break lifetime highs here. What's up, Steve? All right, very choppy range, and again, we're starting to head back up on that range. Why is Apple pushing? Apple had some good news today, I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly. Apple unveiled its new iPad mini powered by the A17 Pro chip on Apple Intelligence. It's offering enhanced performance, Apple Pencil Pro support, and starting at $499 for 128 gigs. Yeah, so Apple iPhone 16 powers record sales in the quarter three. And Apple's also going to launch new MacBook Pro, iPad minis, and iMacs. So yeah, they had a bunch of good stuff come out. All right, look at Nvidia dump down here. So Nvidia breaking down big. I think this is enough to buy up the NASDAQ here. We're going to start with just one contract, though, and see if we can get into profit before we add to this. We got to make sure we're right about our sentiment first. Okay. Now we're going to add to it since we're in the green already. It'll give us a little bit more room there like it did. We're out. So we just made another $15 or so. Based off of it. Again, we're trading on Topstep's funded account program. We've had a pretty good day so far. Look at these last few string of trades. And again, the big edge on Topstep X, 0 commissions. Look at this, 0 commissions, 74 cents in fees per trade. So a tiny amount of fees. I can make $2, $10, $13, $15, $11, $6.50, $2, $5, $3, $5. You know, it's still net profit in these trades. The biggest edge in funding right now, in my opinion. Again, Topstep X, the biggest edge in funding right now. If you want to check it out, they are a sponsor of mine, affiliate of mine. I'm biased for sure, but check them out. Understand CFTC 4.41, hypothetical or simulated performance have limitations, guys. I'm not an investment professional. I'm not liable if you lose. I'm going to get out of here. We're going to go ahead and get out of here, guys. I'll be back later on. We will be on Topstep TV at 1 o'clock today. So we will be on Topstep TV at 1. So we will be back bright and early. We got a green day, a good green day. Apple breaking highs, maybe pushing up to break lifetime highs. And so we'll see if it continues. But I'm going to bow out for the day. I love you all. Y'all have a great day. Again, we will be back tomorrow bright and early, and we will be on Topstep TV later on today. Later, y'all.